Madam Chair, Excellencies, thank you for the opportunity to address your committee today. Woodrow Wilson once said that self-determination is not a mere phrase, it's an imperative principle of action. From 1945 to 2013, our voice, our stories, our history was either never told here, or it was delivered not by us, the Maori people, but by our colonizer, our administrating power. On 17 May 2013, the UN General Assembly put Maori Nui French Polynesia back on the list of non-self-governing territories to be decolonized. It did it by consensus. From that date on, Maori people have had the opportunity to voice their position here themselves. We have a bird, Otu, the Pacific Reef heron. This bird is afraid of its own shadow. Likewise, for a few years now, our assimilationist brothers have been asking here for their own voice to be erased, muted from this assembly, and would prefer the administrative power only to speak in their names again. That's not why the UN was created. That's not what the C24 is about. That's not what this very committee's DNA is made of. Nobody but the Maori people should decide when the time comes, after a proper decolonization and self-determination process, whether they want to remain a French territory or regain its sovereignty. This process cannot take place outside of the scrutiny of the United Nations. It's troubling to see our administrative power taking two different stances before the United Nations on two similar territories, both on the UN list. For Kanaki, New Caledonia, we see full participation and cooperation, with UN missions overseeing all three referendums from the beginning. For Maori Nui, since 2013, we've mostly seen denial, defiance and contempt towards the UN resolutions adopted since the 17th of May 2013. All along, we have been calling the administrative power to the table. Resolution after resolution, the UN made the same calling. Instead of futile attempts to get Maori Nui delisted, I think the time has come for some to stop being afraid of their own shadow. For almost 2 years now, the pandemic has revealed the true limits of our so-called autonomy. Every week, a press conference is held by the French High Commissioner, who decides closing the borders, reopening them, sanitary constraints, while our local government merely acts as a translator. When President Emmanuel Macron came to French Polynesia, even though the Delta variant had already spread, public gatherings of thousands were allowed, encouraged. And while a farce of round table on the nuclear issue was held in Paris, the Maori people still have not heard President Macron ask for forgiveness to all victims. Instead, in the name of his Indo-Pacific strategy, he had made it clear that after being used and abused for France to become a nuclear power, we, the Maori people, are again to be used to ensure not our peaceful future, but France's power position in the world. Colonized people deserve better than being pawns on someone else's chessboard. Thank you, Madam Chair.